Welcome to Catholic Views. I'm your host, Renee Kranz. On today's show, we will have Matt Althoff. He is the Chancellor for the Diocese of Sioux Falls. He'll be here to talk about pastoral planning. And I know that sounds boring. Exactly what Bill just did. It sounds boring, but it is not. And this is something that really affects all of us in the diocese. So very good conversation with Matt, really interesting. He has such a good perspective on it, and he's been working with this for many years in the diocese. So I hope you will stick around and listen to that interview. First, we have Dr. Chris Bergwald in studio. Woohoo!
We need to get the... All right, thanks, Bill. We need to get the ignition soundboard up because as pastoral planning,
Now everyone's ready.
There we go. By the way, Matt's not on Catholic Views that often, so kudos for you.
I think this is actually my first time. Well, no, it's my second time getting him on, but the first time was with someone else. This is his first time solo.
Yeah. Good for you for dragging him into the studio, kicking and screaming.
He didn't even know what the studio looked like when he got in here. He's like, this is the first time I've been in here.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. Sad.
Speaking of harbingers of the end of the world.
That's a good title for Matt.
Do we know what this Sunday is, Renee Kranz?
This Sunday, it is an ordinary time.
It is indeed ordinary time.
It is the 33rd.
It is indeed the 33rd Sunday morning time. And I know that because, like if you guys had the little earpieces in, like Bill, I know, could just whisper to you, 33rd.
He wouldn't, though.
But he wouldn't.
He wouldn't, because he likes to just let me squirm and
so
get it wrong.
We're coming down to it. 2 more weeks left in this current liturgical year. 2 more weeks left in ordinary time before we begin Advent. Mm-hmm. So this is therefore, second to last Sunday in ordinary time. Next Sunday, of course, we'll talk about it next week, but our Lord Jesus Christ, King of the universe.
Yes. And actually, Chris Motes will be my guest for that week, and we'll be talking about that.
Ah, excellent.
So we'll have both Chris's talking about it.
Yes, ma'am. Separately and together.
Right.
So the readings definitely on this penultimate Sunday of the church year do look to, this is the thing we're talking about, actually. The end, but not. So, harbinger of the end of time, right. Matt Althoff being in the studio. So, the first reading for Mass this Sunday is from chapter 12 of the Old Testament book of the prophet Daniel, and then the Gospel is from Mark 13. Both of them, so this is a really interesting thing, just really quickly from Daniel. In those days, I, Daniel, heard this word of the Lord. At that time there shall arise Michael, the great prince, guardian of your people. It shall be a time unsurpassed in distress, since nations began until that time. At that time your people shall escape, everyone who is found written in the book. Many of those who sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Some shall live forever. Others shall be an everlasting horror and disgrace. But the wise shall shine brightly like the splendor of the firmament, and those who lead the many to justice shall be like the stars forever. What do you think Daniel's talking about there? Do you have any guess?
I'm going to guess Jesus' resurrection.
That's a great guess. So this is in Mark, Jesus talks about in those days after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will be falling from the sky, the powers of the heavens will be shaken, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and glory, and he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the end of the sky. What do you think? Jesus is talking about the Gospels. Renee Kranz.
The end of time?
So all of the above are right. So what happens oftentimes, so Daniel is apocalyptic. This part of Mark is apocalyptic. But this is, scholars talk about, they telescope things. So things that are far in the future and things that are closer.
Okay.
To that moment are talked about kind of together. So Daniel is talking about a time a couple centuries later, a couple centuries before Jesus, when Antiochus Epiphanes IV, a Greek king, is going to desecrate the temple and is going to try to outlaw Judaism. So that's what he's talking about. But he's also talking about the resurrection of the dead at the end of time.
Right.
Jesus is talking about his crucifixion and death. He's talking about even more the fall of the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD, but he's also talking about the end of time. So it gets hard when we read these to tell, okay, what exactly are we talking about? But as you're hearing this, or maybe you're thinking about, maybe you already heard it at Mass, the point is, though, that the Lord is working his plan. So whether these things are near to come or they're in the distant future, trust and be confident that God is working.
So difficult, but so essential.
Amen.
Thanks, Dr. B.
You bet.